You're standing at the top of a tower in Fornost. Fornost, the ruined city, an ancient city of Arnor, once a jewel, but long since destroyed and ruined by the Witch King of Angmar. You had traveled your way through this city. You had fought a warg king brought back from the dead. You had fought many risen dead. You had purified or sanctified a statue of the Dark Lord. And finally, you made your way to this tower. Using an axe that you had found within the Warg King, you smashed open the gate and you began to run upstairs, and the dead rose all over the city, chasing you towards the top. And when you got to the top, you saw a man sitting in a throne looking in the direction of Anuminas, which is the capital of Old Arnor and now one of the only remaining cities in Arnor. Speaking to him briefly, it was revealed that he was in fact not any man. His ghostly white appearance was that of a man long dead, wearing a crown, and he revealed himself to be the Witch King of Angmar. He commanded you to kneel, and most of you did, although some of you were able to resist his power. An axe was thrown, and he called you fools. He raised his sword to the sky, fire reached it, and he was covered in his black, rippling plate. And that's where you stand now, face to face with the most powerful of all of Sauron's servants, the Witch King of Angmar. Please roll initiative.
That's 17.
18.
11.
13.
Can you throw them in the chat, guys, just so I can
Yep.
get a...
Yeah, I put it into the chat too.
Thanks.
The calm before the storm.
Yes.
Oh, just a minute.
Okay. He stands before you. He raises his sword up into the air, and the clouds begin to swirl around at his command. And fire begins to wreath from the sky onto his sword, covering it in flames as his armor appears magically around him. And as he's doing that, channeling that power, Nara, you have a split second to act.
So just to refresh, I believe Faroth is standing next to me. Are the others still stuck kneeling?
I'm the only one still kneeling. Everyone else is up, but I think you and Faroth are slightly ahead.
Yeah.
And Syrian has the horn because that was blown to give us an emboldening chance.
So as the fire appears and is reflected in Nara's eyes, his grip tightens on the axe that he borrowed from Cynric, and he briefly glances to Faroth with a grin, giving a wink and saying, the word needs to get out, and then he'll go into a rage and charge forward.
Okay. So as you run towards this manifestation of Sauron's might, you'll need to make me a wisdom saving throw, please.
I also got a 22 on my con save to actually take an action, thanks to my encounter with, I think it was a troll or something that sent me flying. Okay, and then I need a wisdom save, you said?
Yes, please.
16.
Okay, you are frightened until the start of your next turn.
Can I be frightened when I'm in a fury?
Unless
I'm
it
not sure.
says
I'm not sure. Let me double check.
But I don't think the other barbarians get it.
Okay.
We'll have a look anyway. Yeah, so you run forward, you are frightened, as far as I can tell. Yeah, and then you can act. So you can make your attacks, but you make them with disadvantage when you're frightened.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not. I was just double checking and I don't see anything. Let me check one more thing. No, I think at higher levels, but okay, so let's see here. So with this disadvantage, the first one is at 18.
Okay, so the Witch King managed to parry that with his blade.
And the second one is at 23.
That one will connect. However, he will use a reaction to parry it. Yeah, so with his parry, using his reaction, he's able to, with blinding speed, turn his sword around and block that blow as well. Fool.
So yep, that's my turn.
So thunder begins to roll in the sky. And this like crack of lightning smashes into the tower. I need each of you to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Everybody, did you say?
Everyone, yeah.
14.
19.
Okay. So if you
That's
get below,
22.
okay. 19. What about yourself, Kais? Oh, Kais dropped. So Jay, then Syrian, you will take 6 lightning damage, and you'll be knocked prone as the bolt of lightning smashes very near you, and like some of the rubble is like knocked away. The rest of you are able to jump out of the way at the last second. The Witch King himself then looks down at this dwarf before him and is going to make a round of attacks. What's your armor class now?
20.
Okay, nice. So he will hit you not with the flail, luckily, but he does hit you with both the sword attacks. So you will take, oh geez.
Oh.
Uh, 22 for the first. And 20 for the second.
Is this normal damage? Is it halved or not?
Oh, so it is, but some of it is necrotic. I should have done that before I rolled. I'll just roll it again. It'll be quicker than you trying to figure it out. So it's like 10 necrotic from the first, and 15 slashing from the first one. And you'll take 3 necrotic from the second, and 11 slashing. So you see this thing, it's huge, nearly 7 feet tall, but it moves with a speed that you couldn't possibly have predicted. And it like swings its sword at you, like slashing into you. And as it knocks you back, this enormous flail that it has in its other hand just swings over your head while the sword stabs into you a second time. And that is going to be its turn. Syrian.
Okay, so I didn't quite get at the start because I think some people said one thing, some people said another thing about who's kneeling, who's not.
Just
I think
me.
you were able to resist. In fact,
Cool.
I think you were the one who didn't kneel, and you said, "I do not kneel," which was pretty rad.
That, yeah, I would assume I'd have said that, but it's been like so long.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. I'm going to blow my horn, of course, right into the Witch King's general direction, sort of staring into his sort of gaping abyssal face that's sheer lack of it. And then I'm going to hopefully rush forward with Told Lass and try, well, because of this adrenaline surge that's going through Syrian, he's going to try and impale inside the crown.
Okay. You can make your attack. And I think you used the horn last game.
Okay, so that would
in that
count over
same-
then.
Yeah. So
Okay, all right, no worries.
Use whatever, but because it's the same encounter,
Yeah.
basically. But you can definitely make your attacks.
Okay, brilliant. Wow, that's a 9.
Okay.
He's not so nice up close.
No, so he's incredibly quick, amazingly, terrifyingly fast. Considering that he's wearing this thick plate mail, he's got this enormous sword and flail. He's still able to like move at the last second as your spear comes towards him. At the end of your turn, he will use a legendary action. I'm going to need you to make a charisma saving throw, please.
Oh, fucking hell, charisma. Okay. What are you laughing at, Caius? Okay, that's 11.
He looks towards you and he like points his sword towards your spear, and there's this energy that like coats his sword for a moment, firing forth, and Totlas is exploding and is destroyed. You are knocked prone, as is Nar. Witness my power. Cynric.
Got a 15 to stand up, which I don't think was enough from before, so I don't stand up.
So you're still held in place by the power of the Witch King.
I think it had to be over a 17 or something before, and I didn't get it 3 times in a row.
my
That's
goodness.
4. So he continues to like dismount and lower to the ground.
Brutal. Beragond.
Sorry, I dropped, so I missed. What? I got a 19 on the save. What happened on the dex save?
You were fine. The lightning smashed into the corner of the tower, and Syrian was hit by some of the debris and was knocked prone.
Right. Beragond is intimidated and not sure what to do. Glancing at Faroth, he'll just try and he'll try and creep round the back and circle around the back of the Witch King and approach from behind, and try and stab him.
Okay. So I should have done this for Syrian as well. When you approach the Witch King, you only need you to make a wisdom save.
Yep.
Okay, so shall I just roll that now?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no worries. My wisdom is normally good, but oh, my rolls are so bad. Okay, that's a 10.
Okay, you're also frightened, which makes sense.
At what distance does this sort of kick in?
20 feet.
20 feet. So I approached him within 20 feet, and then, well, I don't know. With a 6, is there more effect?
You are definitely afraid, and I think it makes sense having seen him destroy an elven artifact offhandedly, and like dodging the blows from your companions. You are frightened, mechanically speaking.
Yeah, so I stop at 20 feet and I'm unable to approach, and then just look in shock at and Eru Ilmata. But there's nothing else I can do, I guess.
Well, you can still move and attack and stuff if you're frightened. You just have disadvantage if raw mechanical.
If you're frightened, you can't approach, so I can't get any closer than 20 feet to him. So I'll instead I'll take off my bow and launch an arrow at him. But having lost an eye, this will be at disadvantage. Well, it's at disadvantage anyway, so let's just have a see. Instinct takes over. Damn, 13.
Yeah, so an arrow hits into the back of his plate and makes a sort of pinging noise. All right, Faroth.
The elven weapon exploding sends a shockwave across the tower, a shard of it narrowly missing Faroth, and he stands there in shock, looking on as his practiced, experienced companions just hit the Witch King like a rock. He doesn't move. He's unflinching. Faroth's gaze first goes to the stairs, which I believe were barricaded. Is that correct, Lloyd?
At the bottom, you had barricaded them, yeah.
I see, at the bottom. Okay. So he looks towards the stairs, instinctively listening out for any other threats that would be coming to flank them. And then his gaze... and then his gaze, trying his best to ignore the horrifying sound coming from the stairs, shifts to his right, staring across the gap between the two towers. Lloyd, how far is it to get to the other tower? What's the gap? What's the distance?
Oh, God. That is a good question. They're both very high. You're talking about 200 plus. I think it's probably safe to say that it's at least 20 feet. How far is 20 feet actually? It's like a bus, right? Yeah, it's probably 20 feet.
Okay, so Faroth looks across this gap and he realizes that no one is going to be able to make that jump unless they have four legs. He glances down at Cynaric, who is still being forced to his knees. And instead of raising his blade to the Witch King, he turns and he grabs Cynaric, and he's going to attempt to pull him back onto the saddle, first of all.
Absolutely.
I don't know what I have to...
yeah, you make me an athletics, please.
That's absolutely fine. Okay, that is... that's a modified 20.
Yes, you're able to lift him without issue.
I am going to take a rope from my pack, which I have, and I press it into Cynaric's hand. And I'm going to look at him to see if he has the presence of mind to be able to understand me, first of all, because I'm not going to do this unless he can sort of, if I can see that he's sort of like with me at this point. So I'm trying to block out everything that's going on around me. And I'm looking into Cynaric's eyes and I'm saying, Cynaric, can I get through to him?
So Cynaric, you can definitely see what's happening, although you're kind of frozen in place. I'm gonna let you, because he's like picked you up and moved you and stuff, let you make a wisdom save.
I'm just gonna say the option is just to tie it to Ciara's bridle, but fucking hell, that's 16. One more than last time. All
right, well, I'll say it's enough for your eyes to move. You're still under the pull, but you're able to like be aware.
So I look like I'm understanding, but I'm like not in control. So we can wrap the fingers around the rope.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Faroth is not confident that Cynaric is going to be able to make the jump without his faculties. So instead, he is going to tie the rope around the bridle or the saddle or whatever, ready so that when if Cynaric gets his senses back, he can try and then make the jump to get across the other side. Farrell's plan, I can't tell you because that's metagaming. So instead, he with that, what else does Farrell have left? That all of that has taken his go, I'm pretty sure, right?
So that would have been your action and your movement, I guess. You would have a bonus action left if you want to do something with it.
Yeah, so instead, Farroth just whirls about sort of in a protective position, like in front of Ciaro, and is just going to hold position. I'm afraid he has to wait.
Okay, at the end of your turn, the Witch King is going to use a legendary action. He's going to swing with his sword. It's going to be only a 14. Is that going to hit you, Syrian?
Let me just check. Yes, just.
Okay.
Whoop-de-doo.
You take 22 slashing and necrotic damage.
Oh, why, Lloyd, why?
And that's the end of Farroth's turn. You can hear this, and you can hear like this, like relentless, like smashing. Even from here against the barricade, you can feel all around you that there are things climbing the side of the tower. These risen dead, but they're not here yet. Nar, back to you.
Okay, so what's the layout of this room, this top floor that we're on?
So it's exposed to the outside. It's a square. There's a column on each corner, and they like form an arch sort of roof over the top.
Now, the area that's exposed, that was behind the Witch King, right? Because I threw my axe and it like flew behind him and went out.
So there's not like a railing on each side. You know, you could just, if you wanted to, just walk off the edge.
How far is he away from that?
He was like at his throne, so he's probably like 15 or so feet away from that.
Okay. Now, just to get correction, because you said that I was frightened, but that I could still like approach an attack with a disadvantage. But is that not the case? Am I not able to approach him?
That was my mistake. Yeah, apparently you can't willingly move towards the source of your fear.
Okay, do I get a chance to throw that off every turn or like at the end of the turn?
Frightened, you got to test, I think, every turn.
Frightened, this fear is until the start of your next turn, so you're actually no longer frightened.
Okay, then I'm going to charge him with intent to take him off the edge.
Oh boy. Okay, so make me an athletics.
And question, I've been carrying this for I don't know how many sessions, and I'm not sure if you allow me to come over. I have an inspiration point. Can I use that? Or would it not? Would it be dead because...
I think if ever there was a time, this would be the time, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'm making a what check?
Athletics.
Okay, so excellent.
DC is 26.
Yikes. Oh, crap. I got a 25. Dang it.
So you like barrel into the base of the Witch King, like your shoulder in where his hip is. And he actually skids a couple of feet before finally you can feel like this, like places his right foot down onto the ground and moves no further.
Can I, for my extra attack, try to shove him again?
Yes.
Keep barreling forward?
I think you can only grapple once.
You can grapple as an attack, I think. That's the standard rule.
Okay, then yes.
Okay. 23?
No, he got a 28 this time. So again, you're like pushing as hard as you can, and he just is like immovable, like standing still where he is. and all the strength that Nar has, which is more strength than most creatures on Middle Earth, cannot move him, it seems, if he doesn't want to be moved.
So yeah, that would be my turn.
Okay, at the end of your turn, he's going to use a legendary action. He's going to look at you, and he's going to fill your head with visions of the world aflame, the dwarf holds lying in crumbling ruins, the gold smelted down into shitty weapons for orcs. And I need you to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
$18.
Okay, so you are paralyzed by the horror of what you are seeing, this world that you care so much about, this world that you're fighting, everything you can do to save, lying in tatters. It's so real, and you're walking through the ruins of your home, looking at all of the dead, all of your friends, all of your family, everything that you've worked for, destroyed. You can see Nar, all of you stop moving entirely, and the Witch King takes like half a step back, and Nar doesn't move. He's like stuck as if he's tackling, and as he does so, you can see over the lip of the side of the tower come two of these ghoulish creatures, and they rush forward to attack. One of them towards Faroth, and one of them towards Berigond. Okay, so Faroth, one of them runs up to you, and it's like this snarling creature with like a jaw that's far too long, and it swings its claw towards you, but you're able to jump out of the way at the last second. Berigond, the other one, rushes up to you. What's your armor class?
It is 15.
Okay, so it just barely misses you. It actually connects a little bit, and it cuts some of the leather that you have. You can see that there's like a cut made into it, but you're able to not take too much of a hit from it. And it's right on top of you. The Witch King. Oh boy. Yep. It's going to look down at Nar, frozen solid before him, and it's going to make its round of attacks. Okay. Okay, so one of them actually missed, even with advantage, but the other two were hits. And because you were paralyzed, those are automatically critical hits.
Ooh.
Yep. Probably won't make a difference, but remember I need the necrotic separate from the regular.
So the first one is going to be 14 slashing and 16 necrotic. The second one is going to be 16 bludgeoning. And 18 necrotic.
One second here. I'm still up.
I'm going to need 2 percentiles from you.
I'm down to, wow. Okay, just a second.
Yep.
I'm not going to make it another turn if that happens. 2 percentiles, you said?
Yes, please.
22 for the first one, and 17 for the second.
Okay. All right, so the first, his sword arcs towards you and like slashes into your hand. You're going to lose a finger from your left hand. It just goes flying as like blood spurts from the wound. The second, the flail whips around and catches you in the side, and there's a sickening crack as your left arm is broken. So you cannot use two-handed weapons until it is fully healed. And what's worrying to you who are watching is that Nar doesn't move at all when he's hit. So he's hit, slashed, and the finger goes. And the arm cracks and breaks, although Nar is standing perfectly still, despite the sounds and the blood pumping from him. That's the end of the Witch King's turn. Syrian.
Okay. Right. At that, I'm going to rush over. I mean, I'll wait instinctively until the Witch King maybe moves a little bit, if I can, because I'm just so frightened to approach him. But I want to cauterize that wound with some kind of tinder, at least to stop it from bleeding, to tent an R.
Okay, yeah, go for it. Yeah, you can run up there and make a medicine check if you like.
Sure thing.
Or if you have any like healing abilities, I don't really know.
Oh, I have many. Just which one to use. Although actually a lot of them are used when we're resting. So basically I just get silly bonuses while I'm in combat. So for medicine, that is a 14. I'm still rolling terribly.
Okay, I'll say it's enough to cauterize the wound, or at least bind the finger wound so that he won't bleed out. Although you can see, actually he wouldn't be able to move at all. Although you would sense from him like a tensing and an agony as you because it's the left finger and his left arm has been broken, as you move the hand to bind it. There's obviously pain there.
Yeah, I sort of examine it a little bit further, because obviously this is a Nazgul that's attacked him, and I do have my sort of special abilities in that, in order to actually examine that kind of wound.
Yeah, you definitely think that this is one of those hated blades.
Morgul.
Yes. And so you are able to take the Athalas that you have with you. You're well supplied with that sort of stuff, and stuff it into the wound and hope that it will stop the spread of the sickness. Okay. At the end of your turn, the Witch King is going to take a legendary action. Wanted to slash his sword at you, Syrian, with a 16.
Yep, that's a hit.
So you will take 12 slashing and 6 necrotic.
Okay.
Okay, and then Cynric.
So,
Oh, sorry, Cynric, go on.
So with the noise of the dead and the crunching of bones and blood in the air, Cynric, heavy, hunched on his horse, Ciaro pads nervously. This isn't like him. He is seeing his brothers and his father being cut down by a similar foe many years ago. He is seeing his father reach out, telling him to run. He was on a horse back then, and he is on a horse again now. The fingers around the rope start to twitch as he rolls an unnatural 20 to save.
Yes!
Ciaro senses the shift in his weight. He looks up. With Farah fighting the ghoul by his side, he just sees what he's aiming at, that tower, and he gallops and goes for the jump.
Oh my god.
Oh, epic.
Okay.
Is it animal handling?
It would be animal handling. I need to see. I don't know how. Can a horse jump 20 feet? We'll find out. How does a jump work?
A jump is like a certain amount of your strength value in a distance. Like running jump is usually for people, but I guess with the amount of speed that a four-legged creature could manage, you'd probably get a bit more.
Yeah.
My athletics is 25 because I am controlling my animal handling with a horse is 25.
Okay, then somehow you're able to convince this horse, I guess it trusts you implicitly, to try and jump over this abyss.
It's up a tower in an undead city. Yeah. There's a lot of trust.
You can cover, if you make a long jump, a number of feet up to your strength score. If you move at least 10 feet on foot immediately before the jump. Okay, Ciara is like a warhorse. I'm assuming that it has a 20 strength.
I don't
something
think it does. I
close
think
to it?
probably 16 to 18. Let me just get that real quick. 18.
Okay. 2 feet. I think that Sierra is capable, and you rolled a 25 in your animal handling, so I feel like it's possible. All right. So do you want to describe how you jump 20 feet between 2 towers?
So yeah, Sierra probably rears, canters back to the very edge of the tower, and you get the whole hoof off the back and like the pebbles flying down, and you see a shot of all the undead crawling up the side, but they are not looking at that, and they charge through the slick, stormy weather with lightning striking around them, leaping, possibly knocking a ghoul or something as it comes over the edge. And it doesn't look like they're going to make it, but they just do. And as hooves clatter against stone, and they probably almost go off the other edge before rounding, and the rope still held in his hand as he holds his fist up into the dark air.
Yeah. Sierra almost goes off the edge. The two of you, she kind of lets out this scream as she like boom, smashes into the other side of the tower. But you have the rope in your hand. Sierra was not fallen off the edge, and you seem to be in a good position.
If I have anything left, can I use like a bonus action / interaction to tie the rope onto whatever the sturdiest column
Yep.
looks like? Cool. And then I will watch for any undead climbing up here and watch helplessly as my companions are beaten to within an inch of their life.
Excellent. Okay. At the end of your turn, the Witch King is going to take a legendary action to... it's going to, let's roll a dice and find out. Nar. It looks at you. I'm going to need you to make a charisma saving throw. Even though you're paralyzed, you can still make it.
$18.
Okay, so it looks at you and the mattock that you had carried since day one. This tool of your trade, this weapon that had felled countless enemies, explodes into shards. And that was Cineric's turn. Beragond.
Beragond, closed by this ghoul or whatever that's climbed up the tower, but and paralyzed, not paralyzed, but unable to approach. His will has failed him. Here's the clatter of Sierra's hooves, and this sort of drumming directs him on a different way, and he looks up at the ceiling, up at the arched ceiling. Are there any chandeliers, anything hanging from the ceiling?
Not
chandeliers necessarily, but anything to hook something on, anything to act as
there would be like there's an arch in the middle, but there would be like maybe some statues in there that you could like hook something to.
Yep. Okay. Then he had his bow in his hand. He unhooks. He dodges out of the way of the ghoul that's on him, using disengage bonus action. Moving back, he pulls the rope from the side of his pack and attaches it to the end of an arrow and fires an arrow, hooking it through, trying to hook it through to cause a sort of to create a hanging rope from the ceiling, basically from the top of the shadow statue. Sorry.
Yep. No problem. So you want to, on this tower, hook the arrow around. I don't think that's difficult for you. You're an accomplished archer. You should be able to do that. Without,
I won't be able to do anything else, I don't think, this turn, but that'll be my aim for this turn. Disengage and fire that. And I shout, Adas Serisin Anarni Edraith I Sauron, which is Sindarin, which may be remembered vaguely by the Witch King saying, "Father, do you want to always serve Sauron?"
Sick. You can have some inspiration as you fire the arrow up, and it wraps around the statue, and you can pull it taut. At the end of your turn, the Witch King is going to slash out with his sword towards this thing that dares interfere with his kill. That is you, Syrian, with a 17 to hit. It's going to be 19 slashing and 4 necrotic. So it slashes out towards you, and then it is Faroth's turn.
Is Syrian still up? Did that?
If it was at me, I thought you meant that it was a Baragon being in the way of me, but no, if it was at me, then I'm definitely down.
Okay.
Oh shit!
So you see Syrian fall then to the sword as it slashes. As Syrian bravely goes to try and save your most valorous companion, Nar, throwing himself selflessly between the Witch King and Nar, the Witch King slashes him down.
Faroth looks, and it's like in slow motion. Nar's frozen like a statue. Syrian falls, a line of blood arcing from him. And Faroth instantly questions the wisdom of trying to make an escape plan. Usually helps if there are people alive left to escape. He looks to the rope in his hands, and he is relieved to have seen that Cynric made the jump with Ciaro. Am I right in saying that you said it was a bonus action to tie the rope to the statue, or is it an action? It's a what? Sorry,
an interaction.
Okay, so I can do that and attack the ghoul next to me, perhaps?
Yep.
Okay, Faroth is going to take a swipe at the ghoul first. That is a modified 20 to hit.
Hits. You kill it.
Okay, so he just cuts this thing's head off. Its head like rolls over the edge, but I'm sure more ghouls are probably replacing it at this point. Faroth is rushing to the pillar on the corner, so it is and ties the rope tightly to the other end, now making a taut escape line between the two towers. And then he looks up, steeling himself for what he's going to have to do next if his companions are alive on his next turn.
Okay. You can hear this like creaking as like the barricade downstairs begins to like creak and crack, and you can hear like sort of like a door being slowly pushed open. There's like creaking coming. And then it's Nar's turn. You're no longer paralyzed. That was until the start of your next turn.
Okay. So first, let's say 16, 22 on my con. Now I forgot, because I'm enraged, I already have advantage on my strength rolls.
Yeah.
So basically, I come out of this paralyzation and I stumble forward and I see Syrian down at my feet and the Lich King before me. I'm going to whir out and try to charge him probably a final time to try to take him over the edge.
Go for it.
Oh crap. Runaway dice. Oh, shoot. That would be a nat 20.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't know if I need to total, it would be 26, but it's a nat 20.
Okay. 26 is not enough.
Okay. So
you
yeah,
get
that's the
him,
highest I can get. So yeah.
You start to put, he rolled really well. You start to push him. He's very near to the edge now. You push him a little bit further, but again, he plants his foot and goes no further. And there's this sort of like raspy, fool, I cannot die to any man.
I am not a man, as I used my extra attack to give one more final shove. So another 26.
Yeah, no, he got the 20. Hang on, let me see. I think he has +7. Yeah, 27.
Okay. So yeah, that's all I can do my turn.
So you push as hard as you can, but he's like unable or unwilling to move, and his will affects this world directly, it seems. And you can see Nar like pushing as hard as he can. You can see like the bone sort of sticking out of his arm at an unpleasant angle as he's like pushing with all the force that he has, ignoring the pain. But the Witch King stands. So I'll need each of you to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Being on the other tower, do I still
No,
have
you're
to?
okay.
Okay, cool.
How did that apply with me?
Oh, yes, you will simply fail it. What about Farath? Yeah, and Baragond?
22.
Okay, so everyone except for Baragond, you will take 6 lightning damage as the sky rolls again. And lightning crackles along the surface of the tower. You have a failed death save, Syrian, sorry. And then the Witch King is going to go. He is going to...
oh, shit.
Okay, this is more Witch Kingy. Nar, can you make me an athletics check?
Yes, hopefully I can. Eesh, 19.
Oh, he grabs you by the throat, lifts you off the ground, and holds you over the side of the tower. And let's go.
Is there any chance to try to grab him and bring him with me? Or was that part of my original roll?
Yeah. What I'll do is it'll take you more than a turn to get to the bottom. I'll give you a chance to grab something on the way down.
I was just worried about trying to grab him. I don't figure I'll have much luck grabbing anything else, but we'll see.
So you can see the rest of you, the most valiant of your companions, Nar, dropped off the side of this tower. The Witch King then takes his sword, and he's going to strike out
We're so fucked.
at Syrian, who is down on the ground. He actually managed to miss you, Syrian, even though you're on the ground. The total disconnect for me how that happens. He rolled a 1 and a 2 with his advantage. So maybe it's the sheer joy of having thrown the dwarf off the tower. Maybe it's the rumbling of the thunder. But at the last second, his sword sunk into the stone of the tower rather than into you. And that's going to be the end of his turn. Oh my god. Syrian, make a death save, please.
16.
Okay, so 1 success and 1 failure. Cyneric.
Cyneric canters nervously backwards and forwards, watching Nal go over, watching the Witch King try and plunge sword into Syrian, and he locks eyes with Feroth tying off that rope, and he shouts above the storm, "You are the heir! You are everything! We all knew this when we entered this place, but you cannot die. Do not charge him." Arnor needs you. We need you. And he looks around if there's any undead coming up. If not, he's gonna continue to pace round, like Ciara's mane and tail flipping in the wind as they go backwards and forwards in those kind of panic steps.
Yeah, nothing coming up your side of the tower. It seems they're coming towards the Witch King to protect him. And so you watch. At the end of your turn, the Witch King is going to take a legendary action to try and finish Syrian. Do you remember what the Syrian's armor class is?
14 or so, I think.
Syrian, what's your armor class?
Sorry, my armor class is 13.
13, okay. So luck cannot last forever, and the Witch King inverts his sword and shoves it down into Syrian's chest.
Oh, shit.
And then, laughing, pulls it back out. Beragond. Can you make me a perception check?
Yep. Well, I can roll a dice anyway. Um, 17.
You can see what no one else can see, that there's a break in the clouds, very briefly, and some light. And there's something moving in this direction.
We need to hold on a little longer. You're not wanted here. This is not your place. This is the place of the men of Numenor who you turned your back on. I say, you cannot. You can stop my limbs, but can you stop gravity? I say, holding myself, just attaching myself to the rope and swing. Tying myself to the rope and swinging and just assuming momentum will carry me up to the Witch King to take my place amongst my companions.
Oh my god. Okay.
Do I have to make my charisma save to see if I'm frightened? Because I mean, I'm guessing I can get there even if I fail my charisma check.
No, it's not about that. I'm trying to figure out what the check is or what the necessary thing is for this to happen. I feel like it's probably an acrobatics and then an attack roll.
Okay.
I know it's not my turn, but is there any way Faroth can intercept and try and stop him?
If there's a word, if he throws a word, then
he's just going to shout Beragond. No, I mean, I physically can't do anything because it's not my turn, but Faroth is screaming, no, don't.
In that case, Beragond, it arrives too late. Beragond's already swinging towards the Witch King, but he just tries instead to pull himself up on the rope a little bit to swing past the Witch King and carry on swinging, and then he'll cut the rope and hope that he can. How will this work? Nar's falling. He'll try and pick up Syrian as he passes because he doesn't know whether Syrian's alive or dead. He'll try and pick up Syrian as he passes and get to the window and in one arc pick up Syrian and get to the window.
Okay. So then make me an acrobatics, please.
and I'll use my inspiration for this. 23.
Okay, so you're able to swing on the rope. You're able to reach down and grab Syrian and swing past the Witch King. There's almost a comedy to the way that he like follows your arc as you like swing by him. This like strangely heroic act in the face of such terror and death. But you're able to swing past him.
And as the rope reaches the end of its arc and finishes, he'll try and cut the rope or untie it, whichever is easiest. And with his elven cloak, he's got a special sort of climbing ability. He'll try, just with Syrian on his shoulders, try and grab hold of the wall outside and scurry away from any ghouls that are in his direction.
Okay. So then, yeah, you like cut the rope at its zenith and fall, and you're able to like slam yourself and Syrian into the wall and hold on. The elven magic keeping you in place. You can see that there are ghouls climbing up. You can see Nar's body falling. But you are there for now, Faroth.
So Faroth is now alone upon the tower with the Witch King?
Yes. Snowcrater's arm held out to you.
Faroth looks across the void. He looks at Cynric, screaming at him to come with. And then he looks across at the Witch King. Hasn't seen whatever that is in the sky, Lloyd, I'm guessing.
I gave it to Baragon because he's such a perceptive person,
Yeah, no,
and he would
that's
be
fine.
searching.
That's fine.
We have no time.
Faroth. Oh, sorry, go on.
Baragon shouts, "Flee! Back off! Hold on for moments longer. The Witch King is not in his own territory. This is the territory of the men of Numenor."
The sound, it's almost like he's hearing it like it's a dream echoing from far away. He looks to Cynric, screaming across him across the void. But Faroth knows in his heart that the reason that they are here upon these towers this day is because of him. It is because of him that Nar is dead. It is because of him that Syrian is dead. He takes the Flame of the North in his hand and he charges at the Witch King. Which means I need to make a save because this is the first time I've approached him, Lloyd. So is it a wisdom save?
It is. Yep. You have inspiration.
I will be spending that inspiration right now to give me advantage on this. Fuck yes, that is a natural 20 on that save,
nice,
Lloyd. Okay. The first one is a 27.
Okay, that will hit.
I'm going to roll the damage separately. That is... I'm not even kidding, that's max damage. So that is... sorry, let me just double check. That is 16 points of damage on the first strike. Sorry, 18, because I get a +2 against the shadow. And he's going to attack again. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25.
That hits.
Yes. That's another 6. Not as good. That is a further 15 points of damage to the Witch King of Angmar as Faroth leaps at him with fury in his eyes.
Amazing. So you smash into the Witch King and begin hitting him with this magical blade, reforged. And the Witch King recoils at its strike. Cynric, on the other side, you can see the ghouls climbing the tower all over. You can hear Faroth, the snap of the barricade, and you can hear the frantic footsteps of hundreds, if not thousands, of dead rushing up the stairs. You can also now hear this piercing cry, high-pitched like a bird. And you can see that this break in the clouds, there is a singular figure flying towards you, an eagle, enormous, bigger than any that you have seen, and on its back, a single rider. And as you are standing opposite the Witch King, it's flying behind him, and you can see that as it approaches, the eagle kind of bats its wings and lands with a on one of the columns, and the gust of wind knocks yourself and even the Witch King down onto the ground. And clambering over the top, the eagle lands within the little arena that you are in, and a man in grey robes leaps from it, presenting this staff with light in the face of the Witch King, who recoils for a moment. He says, "Go, there's no time. Get on the eagle. Quiet here will save you." And he steps forward with this light in the face of the Witch King. "Nar, you are falling. You can make me an athletics or an acrobatics check to try and grab something on the way down."
I probably should try athletics, I think. So that would be 16, 22.
Okay. So you reach out as you're kind of falling, your arms kind of flailing. Your first attempt is to try and grab something with your left arm. You realize that you can't, it's broken. And so with your right arm, you manage to finally, with your gauntleted fist, smash it into the side of the tower. The axe, probably ruining the axe, but saving your life as you come to a grinding halt as the axe lodges between several stones. You're dangling probably 150 feet above the ground. You have stopped.
So, probably in a bit of surprise, I kind of blink and look around as I realize that I'm at least not for the moment falling to my death, and try to take my surroundings. Is there any kind of openings? Is there any of these undead climbing around me? What's my situation?
Yeah, you can see that probably about 50 feet beneath you, there are quite a few undead crawling towards you. Although they don't seem to be looking at you, they're just looking at the stone as they kind of like clamber upwards. There is a window maybe 10 feet above you and about 30 feet below you. And then similarly, basically 30 feet apart either side of you as well.
Now, are these towers in disrepair at all, crumbling or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, they're mostly ruined. They're ancient, although they were built by the great men of an age before, and so you think that they'll last for another 1,000 years.
Well, I guess what I'd like to try to do is use my stone cunning to see if there's any weakness in the stone around me that I might be able to create an opening to get into.
Perfect. Yep. That sounds great.
Okay. Oh, I don't get advantage. I get my double proficiency bonus. So that would be 13, 19, 22.
Okay, so you can see that not too far from you, some of the stones, the mortar and stuff like that has kind of like wasted away a little bit. You think that if you were to smash it hard enough, you're able to push that stone through and maybe create an opening.
Okay, so that's what I'll set to do. I don't know if I've used my turn.
Yeah,
if
I think
have, then I'll just give another glance down to the approaching undead, then up to where my companions are, and tighten my jaw against the pain as I prepare to try to bust my way in through the building.
Okay. Let's see. So the Witch King looks around in dismay, and he lets out this like feral sort of scream, this shriek, as the light is brought before him. I'm going to need anyone who is still conscious, even you, Cynric, on the other side, and even you, Nar, halfway down the tower, to make me a charisma saving throw.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
I failed it.
Got 22.
Okay.
Oh!
16.
Okay.
21.
Nice one. Okay, so if you got below a 20,
Oh.
you are going to get 7 psychic damage and be deafened for 1 round. Okay. The Witch King himself looks forward. He steps towards Gandalf and raises his sword. And he says, "You fool, weak. Do you not know death when you see it, old man? Witness my power." And as he does so, there's this sonic sort of, actually, you would feel it but not hear it, this as the staff of Gandalf explodes. And Gandalf is flung back to the edge of the tower, holding on with his fingertips. And he says, "You have failed, all of you. The race of men will fall, and all will kneel before the Dark Lord." So you can, despite hearing nothing else, you can hear this voice in your mind, this terrifying voice, as Gandalf clings to the side of the tower, his staff ruined, his sword clattering down as he holds on desperately. And he shouts, although you cannot hear what he is saying. Cirion is dead. Cynric.
Gandalf on my side of the, like, not on my tower, but on my side of their tower.
Roll me a d4.
Okay. 1.
Yes.
So I have I have more rope on me, or cut free, free the rope on the tower. Do I have more rope that I can throw to get him onto my side, or if I cut this rope loose, it can lay for him in easy grasp?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you have like 50 feet of rope, and you've probably used about 30 of it to like tie around and whatnot.
That's Fornost rope as well.
Okay, yes, then you would have.
So I can't hear, and I do the whole sort of, my ears are probably bleeding or something, and like shake my head and the dizziness and the ringing and all of this that I'm seeing before me, and just getting a sense of the whole thing. So I pull rope out of my packer off the saddle or something and throw it towards Gandalf, hoping, ready for when he grasps it, to then like send Ciaro like down the stairs a bit off this, so he will get pulled up onto the tower.
Okay. So I don't know that he would, because everyone's deaf.
I thought it was only the people who failed were deaf.
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
So me, I'm deaf, but perhaps
Yes.
the others.
I can roll for Gandalf.
Perhaps.
If anyone can pass the save, it'll be him.
You would hope.
Yes. So he can hear.
So I probably shout overly loud, but I mean, there's a storm and everything going on.
Yes.
And like for it to try to get his attention, and then throw the rope over to him that I've already tied, like to Ciaro's saddle bridle.
Okay. Yep. So he will try to grab for it when it's his go. Beregond, you're on the side of this cliff. You can hear nothing.
No, I can hear.
Who you can hear? So you can hear still. You're trying desperately to hold on to Syrian, although you can feel that Syrian is making no effort to help you. What would you like to do?
Can I see? I'm just shocked that Syrian's been my companion and since day one. Is Gandalf near me, or?
No, so you would have gone past where the Witch King was. Gandalf would have fallen off the side.
Okay, a different side.
Yeah.
So, can I just, if there's any other window or anything like that, I climb down to that with Syrian and just put him down and try and basically try to make him recover, because that's what that's all I'll concentrate on for this time.
Sure. So you can climb into one of the windows.
I'm not medical. I don't know whether he's alive or dead. I'm going to try and get him back to life.
So looking in, though, as you do so, you can see that there's like a torrent of dead running towards the top level.
That won't help then. That's not a good place. I'll climb up. I'll climb up. I'll climb up to the roof with Syrian, and hopefully on the roof have a moment or two to try and bring him to life.
Okay, no problem. So at the end of your turn, Baragond, the Witch King is going to take a legendary action. He's going to move over to where Gandalf is, and he's going to step on his fingers. I'm going to see now if Gandalf is able to catch the rope.
I hope so.
So the Witch King comes over and steps on Gandalf's fingers of his left hand. Die, old man. And Gandalf lets go. The rope against the tower. And Gandalf is holding on now with his right hand only, dangling in the wind. His robes blowing all over the place as he tries desperately to hold on.
So then I hit Ciara's rear or something, and she bolts off down the stairs some way, so he gets zipped up.
No, sorry, he didn't catch it.
Oh, he didn't?
No.
Oh, that makes a difference.
Yeah. So he's hanging on with his one hand. Faroth.
So Faroth had been knocked to the ground as he'd seen Gandalf soaring down upon Gwaihir, and he'd looked up, and Faroth passed the save, deaf. So would Faroth have heard what Gandalf yelled?
He would have been saying, "Run! He's beyond any of you, run! You are too important!"
Faroth hates hearing that. You keep telling him that, and he doesn't
The
feel
Lord of Eagles will bring you home. Go!
Faroth understands that Gandalf has done this to save them. And he knows he can't beat the Witch King. So instead, Faroth is going to run to the eagle. And he's going to... Eagle's back, and he's going to... by ears to the side of his head. And he's just going to say, "Help me save my friends. Whatever I've got to do for that, Lloyd, let me know."
That's fine. You can climb onto the back of the Lord of Eagles, and he will beat his wings and fly from the tower. Begin circling it, but we'll get to him in a moment. The risen dead burst through the door of the top of the roof, dozens of them at once, running as fast as they can, all around the Witch King and towards Gandalf. Baragon, did you climb up onto the roof?
I climbed. Oh, were we on the roof or in a room under the roof?
Oh, so so there was like a sort of an arch which you could have climbed to the top of. So if that's
I was
where you
climbing on top of the outside of the roof.
Okay,
Is what I imagined.
So these dead are all over the place and they're swarming all around the Witch King. But there's none of you here, and they kind of roar frustratedly, unable to get to you. Gwaihir flies up and he sees Baragon and Syrian, and with a lands on the roof and bows his head for you to climb on.
Baragon's in shock, so if Faroth sort of moves him on, he'll just go on sort of automatically. He doesn't really know what he's doing.
Okay. And you can pull Syrian onto the eagle with you. Gandalf is hanging from the lip with one hand. He's like clutching his other hand close to his chest. Clearly the weight of the Witch King has broken some of his fingers. And he's clutching on for dear life. And he looks and he says, "Go!" And then he lets go of the lip and falls.
Everyone's been picked up. Did he turn and say that to me and I'm still deaf so I can't hear?
Yes.
Okay, so I just see like his exhalation as the hair like wafts in front of him like in the film.
Yes.
And then it just drops. Oh. Okay.
Okay. So, Nar.
Yes.
It's your turn. You're hanging onto the side of the cliff. There are dead not far from you. You have like tried to make a gap in the building. What would you like to do?
Is it large enough for me to try to get through yet, or?
No, I think it would take another bit of work before you're able to, like, you basically removed one brick. You need to remove another one, I'd say.
And how far are there any undead within reach of me?
Not right now, but there will be before you go next.
Oh boy, what's the... Well, I mean, there's not really much I can do. I just got to try to work to make that hole.
Okay, yep, so give me athletics, please.
Uh, 24.
Okay, so you're able to pull another brick out with the axe and then manage to grab onto the lip before you fall dangling there. Thunder and lightning cracks above. I'll need everyone to make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh no.
Everybody?
Yep, even you this time.
Okay.
Even on the eagle.
Even on the eagle.
That's 16.
Okay.
That is also 16.
Okay, this is bad. So lightning is going to crack all around. The two of you on the eagle are unscathed, and Gwaihir himself is able to, at the last second, sort of dip his wing and avoid a strike. However, Nar is struck full force with a bolt of lightning. It's going to be 11 lightning damage, Nar.
Yeah, I'm unconscious.
Oh my god. Okay. So Nar, like, desperately holding on to the side of the cliff, there's a blast of lightning and his hand lets go and he begins to fall slowly down towards the ground. The Witch King at the top of the tower is unable to do much from where he stands, though he like looks around, and he looks for something, some sort of target. He calls out, "All will kneel," and lifts his sword high, and it begins to coalesce into flame. And I'm going to need Cyneric to make me a charisma save.
I decided to use my inspiration that I've held on to this entire time. That is a 19, and it is the very best I can do.
That is enough. So you can see the sword kind of like, and you can feel for a moment this like vision come over you, and you feel like a rumble in the axe that you have held from your very first day, but you're able to like defeat that feeling, and the rumbling stops, and the Witch King tilts its head to the side, interested. Syrian is dead. Cyneric.
So, like when Gandalf fell, Cyneric would have shouted as loudly as he possibly could, I imagine, Gandalf, which hopefully, not that he was thinking about it, hopefully other people might hear and infer what that means, but that probably drew attention to him. And this time, I don't know, through all of this loss, it has hardened his resolve. So as his axe starts to shake, he manages to pull that from his mind and resist it. He can't stay around here. Looking down over the edge at falling Gandalf, are both of the towers entirely swamped and like the city at large, or is there a hope that if he went down this tower, he might be able to get out into the streets?
Certainly the other tower is totally swamped, and the streets seem to be almost full of these dead writhing like ants or something all over the streets, although your tower for now is not covered in the dead.
Because like the best way out is the eagle, and the best way to get on the eagle is here, but now with a Witch King trying to assault his mind, I don't know, there's a lot he can do. So I think he's going to start like pulling the rope back, or still having it in his hand, like he's going to mount on Ciaro and take cover from the Witch King by going down the stairs.
Okay.
And in full gallop, I'm not sure. Try and knock through if any undead he comes through, just with the sheer momentum, and eventually burst out into the courtyard down below or the streets.
Okay, so all the way down the tower.
As long like that's what he's going to be doing, but unless something changes that, but I imagine that's going to take him a while.
Okay. Beregond, you're on the back of Gwaihir, the Lord of Eagles, soaring above this ruined city of Fornost. You can see the dead all around. You can see, as you look, your eyes are sharp. You can see Gandalf plummeting as well as Nar.
I mean, Gwaihir, I'm sure is sharper-eyed, and I just kind of direct the eagle towards them and try and get it to dive. I've no idea how to, but I just say, "Down," pointing at the two.
Sure. Farath.
So Farath is obviously on Gwaihir looking, and is it? I hardly want to draw attention to it, but is it really down to a choice who we go dive after, Gandalf or Nar?
So Nar is already further down. He had fallen about 50 feet before, and now he's falling quicker. You wonder if Gwaihir could even get to him quick enough. Gandalf is falling as well, and he's on the opposite side of the tower where you are. Gwaihir, in order to turn, had to like make an arc. He's coming back towards the tower.
So there isn't really any chanting either.
There's always a fool's hope.
I'm just gonna bellow at a guy here, so hopefully he can tell me whether or not he can reach either of them. Varel says, "Can you save them? Can you get to either of them?"
So he would say, "I can save your friend on the tower."
And Farrell shouts, "Do it."
So Gwaihir begins to fly towards the other tower, and he can see the tail end of Cynric moving into it, and with a crash, lands on the tower, and waits for Cynric to appear. Nar, you fall very, very quickly, and it's not long before you're falling past the dead, and many of them leap off the side of the tower to try and get at you. So Nar probably has a peaceful expression on his face for the first time, possibly ever. His beard and hair blowing in the wind as he falls down towards this swarming horde. Is there anything you'd like to say?
No, I think this is a fitting end.
Okay. The Witch King looks furious. He's like pacing up and down. He swings his flail and knocks a bunch of the dead out of his way. They go flying off the tower as he sees the eagle on the other side of the other tower. And he looks and points his sword forward, and there's a gathering of energy, and he fires some sort of blast of flame from the sword towards Gwaihir. I'll need both of you on the eagle to make me a dexterity save. Okay, so Farath, you will take 20 points of fire damage.
Okay.
You got 24, Kai, is that right? Yeah. Yep. You're okay. You managed to dodge to the side or hide behind Gwaihir. You can see some of Gwaihir's feathers go aflame. He lets out this shriek as he holds on. Cynric.
I hear the crash and perhaps an eagle call. We might have reached the bottom of the stairs, and I pull on the reins and round Ciaro to head her back up again, and he's just whispering, "Oh, my sweet girl, you are not going to enjoy this." As we broach back into the stormy night to greet the Lord of Eagles.
He offers a wing down onto the ground for you to climb up. And when you get off Ciaro, he lifts his enormous talon and wraps it around the horse. And with is up in the air.
Cynric clutches on to the feathers of Gwaihir, and he also tries with his other arm to grab the others on their back as close as he can, as hard as he can. They barely lived.
It's a strange feeling as you begin to soar up into this stormy sky. You can just hear this fell scream from the Witch King as his quarry escapes. You make way up into the sky, flying away as quickly as you can from this hellish city.
There's just one final shout from Beregond. It's aimed at the Witch King, and it's in Sindarin, and it's Muratsur. Therisin Anirna Meth Kanad Menig Aonig Naeg, which is Prince of Blackfire. Do you not want to escape from 4,000 years of pain?
Rad. There's no response from the Witch King except for that terrible, piercing shriek. And you can see him take out his frustration on the very countless dead on the top of the tower as he swings his flail, knocking them to the side. He like smashes the roof of the tower in frustration as you fly from this place through the storm and eventually breaking through up above the clouds. You can see that it is a beautiful day, the sun shining. But it probably doesn't feel that way as you fly toward the Numinas. Two of your companions no longer with you.
Is Syrian on Eaglebeck? Do we know he's gone yet? Or was he left?
No, he's with you on the back of the eagle.
Right.
But I think it wouldn't take too long to realize.
Yeah. Because I think that was like at the point that he was trying to like grasp onto his friends just for sheer celebration of life. He was like including Ciara, like I imagine like grabbing and kind of ruffling them up a bit kind of thing. And maybe Syrian doesn't react at all, but he's too busy to notice.
And so you fly back towards Anuminas for a couple of hours, probably in a strange silence. You would see that Syrian has a stab wound in his chest, pierced through his heart. His blood covering his clothes. And a couple of hours later, he would arrive in Anuminas. Guy would land on the very tallest tower and begin making his way down into the courtyard, once the courtyard of kings, and you'll be able to step off. And there would be looks of confusion from the people who lived there, the various people that you had met, the rangers, the Dunedain, as they see that you are not whole. Not all of you are here. And the blood on Syrian, the blood on all of you, there would be confused looks of sadness as you tell them what had transpired. And that's where we'll end this session. So I hope that you enjoyed watching that. Bittersweet and heavy. I'll see you guys next time.